full build video. What's up, guys? I think we're going to build two things today. It'll probably be two separate videos, though. This is a mini kit bag. Our standard kit bag is a lot larger than this. This is, if you have one of our promo bags from Labor Day 2 years ago, boot bag, or last year we did a handled boot bag. Imagine the boot bag twice as tall. That is about what this is. This is 14 inches, 9 inches tall, 9 inches wide, 14 inches across the front. That's what this is. This is a free bag. This is a promo bag for Labor Day, today, tomorrow, well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday is Labor Day. $50 threshold. You can pick to have this bag free. You get to pick your color. By the time you see this video, that promo will have already passed, and you're like, well, that sucks. It does suck to be you, because you should have been on our text and email already, soetacticalgear.com. You have only had 35 years to be on my text and email list. We've literally been in business before the internet existed. So make sure you get on our text and email. I do a live video every night at 9 o'clock. That's where you see a lot of the small run stuff that we do. We build stuff almost every single day that never goes on the website. It goes on a different website called SOE Quick Ship. We don't ever tell you when we're putting stuff there. I put it up right as I'm about to go live, and I tell people on the live video, and it generally sells out within a few minutes. So I'm gonna build one of these on video right now and show you how to completely copy this bag if you don't want to spend $50 to get the free $65 bag. Then we're going to take my active shooter bag. There seems to be a lot of interest in that, probably because there's so many active shooters happening. Just a small bag, holds 3 mags on the face, holds a good amount of first aid, some commo, whatever you want to put inside it. It's Velcro lined. You can put a cross-draw holster, put mag cards inside, but what we're going to do is take that bag and make it more usable by making it 6 mags. I originally did it only 3 because the mags are on the front and it kind of makes it tilt. But to make the bag more usable, you can put bottles of water and other things in there, or 6 mags on the face. We're going to build that, and I'm going to show you how to do that on live if we get to that today. But right now, we're going to start with all of the parts here. These are the zipper pieces. There's 2 of those. This is the main body right here. These are the end pieces that go on the caps of the zipper pieces. 2 handles, zipper, and some Velcro, and 2 zipper pulls. Process of elimination. We're going to take the parts that we have the most of and get rid of those parts. So let's start, as always, get the zippers out of the way. We will start right here. If you are new here, I don't know, there's probably 100 of these full build videos at this point. I go through and really tell you how to do this stuff. If you're watching me do these steps, seems fast, you're like, I don't know how he does that, and you're new to sewing, go watch some of the older videos. I spent a lot of time talking to the camera and explaining what I'm doing. Right now, I'm gonna put this zipper on here. As I tell you guys all the time, when I started sewing, it was just for fun. I worked 3 full-time jobs to be able to just sew. And eventually, sewing, making tactical gear, became my life. When I say SOE's been in business for 35 years, that's when I started sewing 35 years ago. It went from a sole proprietorship to a corporation, and then it went to an LLC over the years. But I just started building gear, taught myself how to sew, never had any real instruction. The internet did not exist. So I might build things a way that other people don't. I'm going to show you how to do what I do. And oftentimes we're going to do it with equipment that's not meant to do that. Yes, you can totally get a machine just for putting zipper on. You can have another machine set up just for binding. You can have another machine set up that does double needle, right? All in one pass. When I sew these zippers on, I just sewed 2 passes here. Let me show you the other side. I don't separate my track, especially if I'm building a single item. If we're building 100 of these things, a lot of times I separate the zipper. But I'm going to sew this. Because I've already sewed this and I know that this is how this machine is going to tension this piece of material, I'm going to take this and line it up right here so that they're even, and I'm going to sew this right on the edge, right there. And when I do this, I'm lining this up as I go. I have my finger here, and I have between my index and my thumb here. I'm not running any drag on there. I'm not applying tension. I want it to be the same as the other. And I just sew it a couple inches at a time and put it on. Now, that information right there, that's how all the first videos are. That's not what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go through this and make this as fast as I can. There's not going to be much talking. If you want instruction and you need tips and hints and things that will improve your sewing, or if you're brand new to sewing, watch some of those other videos until you get to this one. Then you'll know what's going on. A lot of these videos are hour and a half, 2 hours long because I did talk. This product, like the no bullshit number, I can make this bag in 15 minutes. You like that sound, don't you? A lot of companies won't even put all the lines in here. A lot of companies will fold this over. They'll do it in one pass. And their zipper will be sewn on. If you look at a lot of your gear and you open it up, this zipper is just flapping here because it's only sewn on with one pass of stitching. Or they'll top stitch in 2 passes and then they'll hem in 1 pass. It's this one. Thank you. I'm guiding with one hand, steering with the other. Like you can get a folder that will hem this over and put the zipper on in one. You can get a custom attachment to do that. You can probably buy an attachment to do that. And if you put it on a double needle machine, it'll do all this in 1 pass. What took me 4 passes to do it. I know I put up 3 fingers, but I want you guys to 4. Because there'll always be a couple assholes that are like, you said 4, but you held up 3 fingers. That's engagement. Those turds wouldn't have commented otherwise. I'm going to zip these together. All this jingling, we cut these pulls off. You can save yourself a little bit of money and buy your pulls without the handles on them. I just find that it is a lot faster to use the handle to put the pull on. Except for today, not today. I don't know if these pulls even fit these. We ordered 20,000 zipper pulls. You just saw me trying to lace it after I'd cut the pull off. Here is one of the normal zipper pulls we normally use. Let's see if this goes on any easier. And maybe it's just because I'm used to it. They have a tool that you set the zipper pull in and then you slide your track up to it. It never worked for me. So, the extra few pennies that you pay buying them with the pulls and then cutting them off for the time that is saved, it is cheaper for me to buy them with the poles, put them on, and then cut them off. And that's what just happened there. So there's that. Some of these bags you've seen us build, we use two pieces here, one on the bottom, one on the top, and then we flip it over, and then we sew them together. This bag is one of the early bags that we made early on, and we looked at how the military issue kit bag was, and it was made like this. This is just on here, and all the military issue stuff, they don't sew this on at first. They're running edge tape, a binder, and they run it all through. So as it's bound, that is the same stitching holding the bag together also. I've always thought that we should sew this on first. It makes it stronger for sure. You can't have the seam rip out this way. So I sew these on first. And then I edge tape it. And then I fold it back over and top sew it. So I do not have an edge taper out here. I don't think I even have any edge tape. I'm gonna grab some edge tape real quick and we'll do that. All right. Attachments, that's anything that screws on here and helps you do something else. This is an edge taper or a binder attachment. This one came right off Amazon. You can get them on Amazon, eBay. Collier Equipment is who you guys should be doing business with. Collier, great people. They have everything you need. These were 35 bucks-ish. I have no idea what they cost today in today's money. You're not ever going to find one of these local. Get it now before you need it. And it basically just, you put your 1-inch tape and it folds it over. You can have custom attachments done that do all kinds of things. I didn't even know that an attachment existed for the first 5 or 6 years that I was building gear. I thought you had to just fold your edge tape and crease it. We've folded it in half and ironed it. We have folded it in half, and that's why all these tables here are all worn, because we used to take this edge tape, fold it in half, and then crease it on anything. I was creasing tables and gym equipment and all kinds of shit. But if you just fold it in half and start sewing it, and then just kind of crease it as you go, you can achieve kind of the same thing, which is fine if you're starting out and you can't afford 35, 40 bucks to buy an edge taper. I get it, I was there. I used to buy needles a card at a time, which is 10 needles. When there's 10 cards in a container, so there's 100 needles, and those come, I think 6 or 12 to a box. Like, I get it. I was there. But you see, they look identical. I put one on by hand and I put one on by the edger. Get good at doing shit the difficult way and you'll be way faster for it. All right, I'm gonna run a second line in this. Most dudes, especially working out of their house, don't have a double needle machine. That's a whole nother machine sitting there, and all it does is throw 2 lines in. So if you were doing edge tape is really where you'd use it. Now you could just kind of fold this and not catch that, because I am going to take this at this point now that the second line is there. That's where this is going to fold to. It's only going to fold as far as that second line. That's my top hem there, right there. So that seam, that hem right there, that edge has 4 lines of stitching in it at this point. Do you need that? Probably not. Do we ever see any of our kit come apart? Never. That's probably why. You'll see dudes like, I'm really hard on gear. Can I test your gear? I'm really hard on gear. I get every gear to fail. Nobody gets this shit to fail. 35 years, we've not seen a bag that's come apart. Unless it involved a IED, fire, muzzle blast, boat prop, something like that. All right, there's that. That's the assembly right there. That is the top and the sides. Now, we're going to take the main body, which is the front, back, and bottom. We're going to build this. I do my handles at a 5-inch space. Why do I do that? Because that's how Eagle did theirs when I looked at all their stuff to see how they did it when I was learning to sew. I assume all of you guys are looking at somebody else's product. If you're not, then you're spending a lot of time. Just look at how the guys do it and just kind of do that. You can change some things if you want to. I just folded this in half to find center. I'm going to come 2 inches, 2.5 inches each way. 2.5 that way, 2.5 this way. That's my master. If I had 100 of these to do now, I would just take and line them up. These webbings are the same exact size. I'd line them up. That's my master. I'm just going to transfer that line to here and this line to here. You don't need to measure every one of them. You only need to measure the first one of them. I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to tack this right here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to sew this down here to the next line that I made. That makes that 5 inches. That's where your hand is going to hold this. You can make yours 6, whatever you want it to be. You can put a piece of foam in here. You can put a piece of aquarium tubing in here. You can put a Delron dowel in here, whatever you want in here. A lot of companies will put a handle that Velcro wraps or snaps. I've seen guys put leather that wraps around and snaps. I don't ever do none of that shit. Because when I want to get in the bag, I don't want to have to undo the handle. Every bag I have that has that, I never close, I never attach those things. I even think I have some bags that have, the handles have snaps in them. So you snap the handles together. I don't use none of that shit. I just ran out of thread. And I don't think, yeah, I do have a full bobbin. Winding the bobbin, I'm going to wrap 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times around. I'm going to take this tail, put it through one of these holes. I'm going to hold that tail. I'm going to unthread this. I'm going to run this and then start pulling on that tail and it rips off. Now that bobbin's winding on its own. I don't have to worry about that tail getting sucked back up when I put it back in the bobbin carrier underneath here. I'm going to run this needle down, pick up that thread. I'm going to take these scissors, wipe it through here. Now I have both top and bottom thread. I'm going to pull both of them back. And I want a bit of a tail that I'm going to hold when I start sewing because I don't want it to suck up in there and make a rat's nest. I'm going to go ahead and put my Velcro on here first because I'm going to run these right on this edge. I've got 2 inches down marked, which is where I want this Velcro. And I've got a center mark. I'm going to fold this Velcro in half because everything we build is off center. I'm going to hold this right here on this line. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to tack this. I'm going to hit this 90-degree turn. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it one more time. At the end here, I'm going to tack it again. I tack the start and the stop. You can cross back over the first line if you want. You can make an X. You can do whatever you want. It's your project. There's really not a right or a wrong way to do it. Most companies building this stuff use programmable machines. They have a machine. They build 18 million of these bags. They put it on, the machine clamps it, and the program sews everything. Most factories building this stuff are not skilled employees. They have a lot of money behind them, and they have a lot of machines. That means they can build whatever they build it really well. They build a lot of it, and they can just use a button pusher. We don't use any programmable machines like that here. All of our people are very skilled. Not to say you shouldn't. God knows if we did that, we'd be able to build a ton more shit. And we could probably have 3 employees for the cost of 1, just using button pushers. Okay, that's the Velcro there. You can put bigger Velcro, you can put smaller Velcro, you can put no Velcro. You can build yours however you want. I've got the center here. I'm gonna run these right off of here. And I want, right on the center, I want to come just past the center. Right there. So it's about a 1/2 inch past the center, and I'm going to tack this right here. I'm going to travel right up here. It's going to come right along this Velcro. I'm going to make a box X right here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to travel right down here. My box is 2 inches because it frames up and looks correct with this 2-inch Velcro here. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm gonna go right across. I'm gonna come back across the top, right there. And I'm gonna come right down here. I'm gonna tack that. There's my box X. What I really have here is 5 lines of stitching at the top, 3 lines of stitching at the base. Leading edge, that's the top edge that's going to catch all the brunt. There's 5 lines of stitching. If somehow I get this off of here, you rip this off, it's backed up down here. Now this one, when you guys start sewing these, a lot of the bulk is in your way, it's flapping around. You could totally undo this, come over here and sew this one. I am not going to do that. I am going to sew this one. Make sure your handles are both in the right direction. If they're up, make them both up. If they're down, make them both down. I'm going to come right here. Ooh, these are not burned. At least this one's not. I really thought I torched all these. We use a propane torch when we're cutting small stuff. When we're cutting quantity of stuff, we will use a digital cutter. We put in the number, the length, and it does everything, ching, 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 and then the quantity. So I'm going to overlap this one. How I was 1/2 inch this way, I'm going to come 1/2 inch this way. My edges are raw. I'm not worried. You can conceal yours if you want. You can tuck it under if you find it necessary. I'm going to travel right into here. Across the top, 1, 2, 3, travel down, right across here, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to put my X in here, corner to corner. You can trace this out if you want with a colored pencil or chalk pencil, whatever. So it's easier to stay straight until you get in the habit of being able to do it. I'll come right across here. I'm just tacking that in a couple stitches, and now I'm going to travel right down. When I get here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to zigzag over and go 1, 2, 3. That's the bottom of the bag. Anything weight-wise in the bag is catching right there. I want that tacked in really well so it can't work its way off of there at the bottom. You also don't see it. There we go. Now this one here, I want to make sure my handles are not twisted. I have built a lot of product even on these videos. When we get it done, I'm like, shit, the video, it's twisted. So take it, look at it, make sure it's in the direction you want it, no twist. I'm going to do the exact same thing right here. Just a 1/2 inch past that line. Tack it in. I'm going to travel right up. Normally, when we're doing these bags, any of these bags, we have stencils for them. So I'll have a big piece of plastic. It's got a bunch of grooves in there. You can route it out, cut it out, whatever. We set it over this and we make all our marks. And one of the marks we make is right here from here to here, there's a line, and from here to here. So we know if it's lined up or not. The only line I have is right here, and I'm catching it on this edge of Velcro. When you do it, a couple minutes marking your templates, marking your measurements on the material will save you a lot of headache later until you are in the habit of doing it. Again, I just made this whole bag pattern set and everything yesterday. There is no pattern for this. I cut all this freehand. Cody will make a proper pattern. And then Monday, because we're going to have to build hundreds of these bags, on Monday they will build a stencil and they will mark them. Somebody will stand all day long making marks on these patterns, making marks on these cut materials, and they'll sew them together. Now, if you have a laser, your laser can mark those marks. If you have a cutter, Autometrics or Gerber or something, there's knife cutters. They cut 60 inches a second. They move really, like ridiculously fast. They literally are like a scalpel blade, has a sharpening mechanism built in it, and they can move 60 inches per second. Now, a lot of those machines have a drill on them. If you take surplus gear and other companies' gear apart, a lot of times you'll see these little holes drilled in there. Those drills are the marks, so they just line those holes up. You'll also see pins and pencils that mark, and you'll also see IR. You'll see black light pencils that you can't see until they're under a black light. A lot of factories, at least they used to, would have a black light so that those marks would glow. I don't know where I stopped here, so I'm just going to go ahead and sew right back around this. Put my X in here. That sounds weird. People always say my X, my X. I don't think I've spoken that in at least over a decade. Okay, there's that. Again, we're checking the handle for twist. I'm overlapping this. This one's not burned very well. You'll see people say they use candles. You'll see hot knives. You'll see Weller soldering guns. You'll see all kinds of shit for burning webbing. Bic lighters we used for the first 10 years. We would heat these things would get so hot that these tabs, this whole shield here would heat up. And these are on here. If you pull this off, there's plastic tabs molded into this part. They would melt those. This would pop off. You'd hear the gas go, and you'd see this. There's a spring with a piece of flint. And that spring pushes that flint up, and that's what makes that spark. We would run these so hot they would explode. When you buy these, they come on a pack of 50. You can buy them on Amazon nowadays. We used to get them at Home Depot. We used to get them at Sam's Club and Costco. And a lot of times when you buy the 50-pack trays, they come with an extra free 5. You can buy cheaper lighters than these Bics. Nothing is better than a Bic lighter. I know. There's a dude typing right now. I use a butane Super Duty torch. I got you, bro. And if I hand that to one of these employees out here, they will burn this and have this so hot it will damage the piece of equipment. This is manageable. Get used to using this. Because when the apocalypse comes and you're the gear maker in the mud hut, there will always be Bic lighters. When you're in the cave, setting your Jackery or Blue Eddy outside with your solar panels to charge so that you have a little bit of light. You can run your sewing machine in the cave at night. You'll still have Bic lighters. In our preps, I'll bet we have 10,000 Bic lighters just sitting in storage. They have nothing to do even with SOE. We should go do a urban exploration at the old building. You'll find thousands of Bic lighters still. All right, there's the entire bag. There's the body. This is what it looks like. Now you could take this and do you could make this bag, you could expensify this bag incredibly. You could take and put another piece of material here, making it inner outer, sew some slots, foam it out. You could put Velcro on the inside so you could put mesh pockets, organization. You could put another piece of material with a zipper and have inside pockets. You can do whatever you want. I just showed you how to build the bag. You can make it as expensive as you want to build this bag. These are just kit bags. These are free bags we're giving away. If you wanted to really make this bag cool, what I would do, I don't like putting foam in bags. I would take this bag, Velcro this out, as we've done on some of the rifle cases and helmet bags and things. Once you have the Velcro, you can take pack cloth, make a sleeve, basically like a plate hanger, put foam in it, put Velcro, hook on one side, loop on the other, and then you can make this bag super rigid. You can have as much padding and protection as you want and still have the ability to put organization in, like on our helmet bag, for instance. Super, super protecting. But with the helmet's an odd shape, and the bag is still rectangle. There's a lot of room in there where you can put mesh pockets, right? If you're carrying a helmet, you probably have night vision. With the night vision, you have electronics, you have cables, you have counterweights, you have all that stuff. You might as well have all the accoutrement, all the supplies in the dead area of the bag. That's why I like building the bags the way we do them. You don't see people do that because it costs more. It's a lot more time consuming, and then you have that whole craftsmanship labor thing also. Now these, I typically, when you sew a bag, especially when you're learning to sew a bag, on our floor for production, we don't start at a point and sew all the way around. The bag will come out cockeyed. I start in the top center and the opposite top center, and then the bottom center and the bottom center. That's what I'm going to show you here. I'm just going to clamp this right here to hold it. I'm going to fold this in half and find the center marks on here, just like this. And these are some of the marks that we would make on the stencil. Like the stencil would do this mark also when we make a stencil. Same thing here. When we ordered labels, we used to order them 10,000 labels at a time. And we would order that once a year maybe. Now we order it every few months. And every now and then we would get a dude that's like, oh my God, I have crayon all over this stuff, or I have colored pen. We're like, chill. It's Crayola colored pencil. That's another thing. You can get Rose Art. You can get off-brands Crayola. Cost a little more. When you sharpen Crayola pencils, colored pencils, they don't crumble. The Rose Art, they crumble. When you run them through a pencil sharpener especially, it makes it super sharp. That's why I don't use a pencil sharpener. I use a razor blade. When you use those Rose Art and you go like that, the tip crumbles. They're brittle. These are not. Bic lighters, Crayola pencils. So I've got my marks. I'm going to sew this bag inside out, and I'm going to start right here. And I start center to center. And I'm going to run right here to the corner. And right at the corner, I'm going to back tack it. I don't want to come past the corner. I don't want to fall short of the corner. I want to be right on the corner. If you can't get it there, it's okay to lift that needle up and strike the needle back down where you need it to be and sew it forward or backwards. You can also, a little trick, if you're sewing a bunch of repetition and your needle doesn't go where it needs to go, it goes a little far or it stops a little short, you can change your stitch pattern to do that over and over. When I'm sewing 1-inch Velcro, on a lot of our pistol mags, for instance, there's a 1 by 1 inch piece of hook Velcro, and I want 7 to 8 stitches per inch in that Velcro. The way I'm sewing right now, I'm probably at 4 or 5. So I'll make my stitches considerably smaller. So on 1-inch webbing, when I'm sewing the 1-inch Velcro, it just goes, just by pushing it, I'm gonna get 7 stitches. It's gonna fall right where I want, and I'm gonna do hundreds of those repetitively. And that's how I'm gonna do that. So I've got this in here. I've sewn the first quarter of the top, or the first half of the top. I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna tack it in, and I'm gonna come right here again. And when I talk about ending for that corner, I wanna stop right there. That's a perfect example. I'm just a hair away from the edge. I'm not over it. I'm not far from it, because that's gonna help you put your corner in nice and crisp when you go to do those corners. So when I do these bags, I typically do them in quarters. Like I was saying, when I started this, I don't just start sewing and sew the whole bag around. The bag won't come out square. It'll be shifted. So I do it in quarters. And what I actually do it in 8ths, which is, you just saw 2 8ths right there. And then I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna line these up. Everything's marked on centers. So I'm gonna mark these centers right here. They're marked. I'm gonna line the marks up and I'm gonna sew. Most guys watching my videos are learning to sew. They're not real good production guys yet. So even today, 35 years later, I still sew a bag together this way. Somebody's really good, you could just go from edge to edge. Now I've got it. I'm pulling tension here just to show you another way to do this, what it looks like. I'm gonna come from this edge. I'm gonna over tack it, right? That's together. Now I'm gonna do that a bunch more times. I'm gonna do it on the ends right here, and then I'm gonna do it on the sides. Once it's all together, I'm gonna sew all the way back around it. And then we're gonna take it and we're gonna edge tape it. There's gonna be 3 lines of stitching. Now, a lot of places where you see me start and stop, I tack it. You'll also notice a lot of times when I sew, I'll run a ways and then tack it and then run it and tack it back forth. That's just backing up all that stitching. Depending what the bag is doing, maybe you want that, maybe it doesn't matter to you. Keep in mind, most of our competitors sewing this shit together. When you buy something from a company making stuff like this, even if they cost a lot more, if you cut their shit apart, there's only 1 line, sometimes 2 lines of stitching in that shit. When you look at a lot of the stuff coming from offshore, if you cut it apart, you cut the edge tape off, whole bag comes apart. They don't even sew it together before they edge tape it. The only thing holding it together is the edge tape.
I'm about to make a company called SOE Light, and it's only 1 stitch, and it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, that's what Josh said. He goes, I'm gonna start a company called a Specialty Operations Equipment. Okay, there's that. Now, some of you guys aren't good at sewing backwards. Your machine will sometimes tension. Well, it'll always tension different when you're sewing backwards. So, if it's not a long run, you can just kind of lay it out, smooth it out, start there, you're probably gonna be fine. Or, you can just flip it over and sew the same direction you were sewing. That's usually easier for me. I'm sure there's some dude that's like, nah, I do it this way. Well, 35 years later, this is still how I do it. If you got a better way, by all means, make a video. I'll be happy to watch your video. I'll leave really nice comments, and I watch YouTube videos of kids, like kids, way younger than me, kids. And I still, 35 years later, pick up some trick. I'm like, holy shit, that kid's doing this. That would save 20 minutes on the production. You don't know what you don't know. All right, same thing here. Lining those up, line to line, which is center to center. And I'm between 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch in, closer to a 1/2 inch. My edge tape, when I fold that 1-inch edge tape in half, it's gonna be 1 inch. It's gonna hide most of this stitching. Why do you put this edge tape on there? To conceal this. A lot of people put edge tape on to conceal that the motherfucker's not sewn together well. I put edge tape on so that this material can't fray. It also protects the stitching. The stitching that's holding it together. The edge tape is not, it's not structural. I mean, a lot of companies it's structural. I put it on to protect the other. Okay, so that's 4. Here's 5, here's 6, 7, 8, right? So I do it in 8s, like I said. So when I'm doing corners, it's a lot. I'm gonna just start right back here, put some more stitching here. Now, my needle is down. I am struck down, I'm almost to the edge. I'm going to fold this right here. Now this is the small piece, that's the big piece. Ideally, this is folded right at 45 degrees. I'm gonna tack that there. I'm gonna come right down here. Now, if this lines up perfect, then your patterns are spot on. If they're not, you might want to adjust your patterns or just take the excess and pleat it or mush it in somewhere. Mine's perfect because I made it. Not really. Most of my shit is never as good as this pattern set is right here. And a lot of times for me, like, some guys are really good at math and engineering and drafting and stuff, and they can just look at that and know what they need to do. Me, I'll build it and go, okay, this pleat is 1 inch. If I took it out, that's 2 inch. I need to add 2 inches into the. I built this bag 3 times before I got it working perfect. That's why I know this works perfect. Okay, now here's what I was talking about. So this is the taller side right here with the zipper. This is what I want this to look like when I said 45 degrees, right? I want to take that right there. I'm going to tack this in there real nice. I'm going to travel right down here. You can see I still have, I could stand to take that pleat. Can you see that on the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a 1/4. I could stand to take a 1/2 inch out of here, which means if I got a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch over there, I could cut 1 inch out of here. Do you want to do that? We will not adjust these patterns until we cut these patterns freehand. We're not even going to make patterns yet. We're going to take these, we're going to hand it to production, and I'm going to have them build 5 or 6 of these on Monday and go, what do you want adjusted? Because how they build it might be different than how I build it for full-blown production. They're going to pull it more. They're going to, whatever it is they do, we're going to adjust the pattern off of what they want. A lot of times when we have final patterns and I'm like, Cody, I'm going to do a build video or I need to build one of these, build me the patterns. That's why I still build everything in 8s like that, because I can pull it or I can push it to make it fit. If you're pulling one side, you're going to push the other, which means you could always just do it through pulling. You just got to pull the bottom instead of the top. If you don't know what I'm talking about by when I said that, there will come, if you sew, there will come a day when it will click and you're like, oh yeah, I know what he's talking about now. All right, same thing here. Get that lined up right where I want it. Now this one, I know the top is what's important. That's what you're going to look at. I've got it tensioned in there where I want it. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to tack that in. And so that I'm sewing the same direction, I'm going to flip the work over and I'm just going to come right back in here. I'm going to make sure that is tucked out of my way so I'm not doing anything weird there on that piece. Now this is a little wide right here. We know that. I already knew it. So I'm going to come right here. Now if you look, perfect right there. Last piece right here. Man, it is way hotter right now than when we started. That sun has moved across the building and it's cooking this door over here right now. We'll be complaining it's too cold out here in another month or so. We'll be running heat, and I'll have a heater sitting here and we'll have the heat on in here. There we Maybe we should have another building built that's just the sew shed. The sew studio shed.
I think we already got one. We just gotta put it out there.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna flip this. What we're gonna really do is we're gonna go around this and sew this all one more time. But right now, to show you guys, pop these corners out. Do they look nice and sharp? They do. If you're doing them and they're not nice and sharp, it's because your pattern's off just a little bit. People won't ever notice it. They'll never say a word about it. That right there looks like the wrinkles in your wife's butthole. It's because it had a little too much material right there. Maybe that's why her butthole's that way. She's got a little too much material. All right, there's the bag. It is perfect. I would tell Cody at this point, we take it from here, cut a bunch more, give them to production, which is going to happen on Monday because these are the free bags for the giveaways. There's the bag. This is what it looks like because I have a bunch of stuffing in it. If you guys are making samples for photos and such, the Postal Service gives you free boxes. These boxes come 20 or 25 per. We order these thousands at a time because we ship them out every day. But those free boxes work great for stuffing items. If you need it sharper than this, you can also take these boxes, tape them together, and put isomat or foam and make a perfect shape of the item you're trying to photograph. They also do inflatable bags. You can put it inside the bag, blow it up, and it'll fill the bag out. I learned that from John Carver when they would set up all their stuff at Soldier of Fortune show and SHOT Show. Nobody travels, like you just don't know what you don't know, but you're like, man, their displays look so good. You don't think that they inflate those bags on site and then they just pop them and throw them away. That stuff never travels back with them. You can buy some of those bags at Uline and such, but the Postal Service will give you all kinds of boxes for free. You can order them right off the Postal Service, and they don't check to see if you have an account with them in any manner. They'll just ship them to you. You can get them from your post office also if you ask for them. Any cardboard box works great. If you really want to make it look nice, take a couple more air cells, put some little inflatable cells or packing stuff towards the back. It'll push the front out, and you will have a nice, crisp looking, proper bag for photo shoot.